Okay, I'm going to call this meeting to order. Special meeting of the Board of Equalization. Today is July the 2nd. It is 9:30 a.m. This meeting was properly posted on June the 27th, 2024. Roll call, Mr. Town.
Present.
Ms. Sellers.
Present.
And I'm Ms. Thompson. We have today, I think, 10 items. It's a 10 items sort of on the agenda. Item number 1. Discussion and possible action regarding the minutes of our meeting of June 14th, 24th, 25th, 26th of 2027.
I'd like to move approval of the minutes on item number 1 as posted.
Well, second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Okay, the second one, the decision for BOE number 523 has already been settled by agreement of the parties. So we'll go to item 3 on the agenda, BOE number 539. Power Rig LLC, number P3122122. The assessor has this valued at,
We had an
We
agreement
oh,
on
that's
that.
right, I have a circle around it, $7,217,000. Okay, item number 4 on the agenda, BOE number 532. Hara Midstream LLC, P3092464. Now I got a bunch of figures written down here. And the argument on all the rest of these is that they should be valued proportionately at 2.35% of 33.8 million because for the 42 million intangibles were subtracted. But individually on this one, now I've got 4,200,000. Let's say by the assessor, and I don't know what.
579,611 is what he's asking on this one in particular, the 532.
Okay,
It seems like our decision points are, do we consider that February 1st a valid sale and according to our ability to set the valuation, because it was a 24 sale February 1. If the taxpayer is correct that the statute says you can consider that if it's close enough to the date, to the January 1st or December 31st date, then our next point would be, do we agree with the division that they've set forth of 2%?
2.35.
I'm sorry, I'm a little lost.
That's
My
okay.
glasses
You-
go out
Mhm.
and I didn't pick them up, I guess. But I think that's the first decision point: is do we consider that a sale, and then do we accept the division?
Okay, I have one question, and I toyed with this last night. I guess I should have asked yesterday. Normally, you only get, unless someone's coming in asking for an exemption, you get a notice of valuation if your valuation has gone up. And I was unclear whether he was in here because he got a notice of valuation that he was disagreeing with, or if he was just in here because in anticipation of what we said it would affect the tax mail out in November. Not clear on that. I don't know if I can ask. Am I allowed to ask?
We're asking the assessor to explain the intent of the taxpayer, or
No, just
Okay.
did the assessor
Okay.
send out a valuation notice in the normal course of business, and that's why he was in here complaining.
We did send out a notice.
That being the case, I have a hard time ignoring the procedure employed by the assessor. There are prior year's valuations. They made their calculations according to tax, and sometimes the Oklahoma Tax Commission, on whether to stick with the notice that they sent out or bring it down. And in most of these, they listened to something at the informal and dropped for the most of these, the valuations are lower now than they were initially. So to agree with accepting a February 1st sale, number one, flies in the face of what we've been doing on every other case. And I have a problem with, we're gonna get to the very end in personal and employ a different rule than we have employed to everybody else's case. Because some of these sales were in January that we ignored.
Yeah, but those were 2023 valuations, and my understanding is this is a 2024 valuation.
No, that's why I asked if notice was mailed out like in the due course. So what is gonna happen is, had he not come in here when November came around, their tax assessment was gonna be based on the value of the notice that was mailed out by the assessor. And if that was the normal procedure that was employed, we can debate about whether the assessor dropped his notice valuations enough, left them the same, whether that was valid. I just have a hard time dealing with giving these particular sets of cases a different break than we gave other people who came in here with comps that we said we cannot consider that because it was past your valuation date of 12/31.
And we have been very consistent on that, I agree. So this has just been an either or with me. We either accept the assessor or we accept the taxpayer. Although if I was to accept the taxpayer, I would add back 20% for that economic obsolescence, because to me, that's already baked into the sales price.
Right.
Being significantly lower than the valuation from the previous
Yeah, you
year.
don't get to have it both ways. If
That's
you want
right.
to tell me that you got to go with my February 1st sale date as an accurate reflection of valuation, and then you come right in here and whomp it. That's now. And the other thing, lastly, I'll say this, and I'm using this word lightly. There was a consistent threat that if you don't do what I want, this is the argument I'm going to make in front of the court. So clearly, if he doesn't get his way, he's going to appeal this and take this to the court. Fine. Man, I can't. I'm not intimidated by that, and I appreciate his vigor. But that's the argument you want to make to a court. If you don't get your way here, that's your right. So I'm more inclined to go with the assessor's valuation for that reason. Now,
Well, I mean, I definitely agree with you if we are in fact valuing for 2023, that we should not change, the course of what we've been doing, for the rest of the tax year. But my understanding is that we were evaluating based on a 2024 value. So can we ask that question and get clarification?
okay, the only other one we had like this little lady that came in and asked for the exemption.
That was a tax exempt, right?
But that was for 2024.
Right.
So it's a proper to ask the assessor.
I think
that
it
question
is, just for that clarification, because that's why I asked the question the way that I asked it though. Is this the normal, this is what we think your property is worth? 12/31.
Yes, that's correct. Yesterday I misspoke when you asked that question. This is
Okay.
for a 2023 valuation.
All right, thank you. Then I agree that we should not change what we've been doing all along with everybody else, that we can't consider a February of 2024 sale.
I concur.
Okay, that being the case, our decision is going to be, I just wrote down what you said, a $579.67 versus,
$4,237,951.
right. And I'm gonna go with the assessor.
I agree. I'll make a motion on BOE 532, item number 4 on the agenda. Yeah. To set the fair market value at $4,237,951.
I'll second that.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Okay, next on the agenda is item number 5, which is BOE 533. And this one, the assessor began at $557,447 and dropped it to $404,882. And Kyle was asking for 72,000, just 386.
Mhm.
Okay, I go with the assessor on the same theory that he looked at last year versus this year. Um, and the economic obsolescence, I think, is too much. And I also think Kyle backed out the intangibles. So he did two deductions to get down to his lower fees.
Plus the sale, which we're going to disallow at this
Right.
point. I concur. I think all of these are the same argument and the same rationale for decision making. So I'd like to move on BOE 533, that we set the fair market value of this property at $404,882.
A second.
All in favor?
Aye.
All right, so item 6 on the agenda, BOE number 534. Kyle wanted $830, and the assessor began with, see, this one was 9 million plus in 23, and he started out at 7,500,000.
7,000.
He started out with $9,195 in 23. This year he started out with 7,524, and during the informal lowered it to 5,465.
Yeah, I'll make a motion on BOE 534, item number, 534, item number 6 on the agenda to set the fair market value at 5,465.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Okay, the next item on the agenda is BOE 535. And Kyle was asking for $9,720. The assessor began with 78,731 in 23, started out this year at 69,519, and ended with 50,493.
I'll like to move on BOE 535, agenda item 7, that we set the fair market value of this property at $50,493.
A second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Okay. Item 8 on the agenda, BOE number 536. Kyle would like $106,767. The assessors at one point was $1,150,389. This year began at $950,750 and ended up lowering it to $690,547.
Yeah, I also make a motion on BOE 536, item number 8 on the agenda to set the fair market value at $690,547.
Second.
All in favor? Aye. Item 9 on the agenda is BOE 537. Kyle asked for $1,193. The assessor last year was 12,560 plus. Started out this year at 10,540 and ended up lowering it to $7,656.
I'd like to move on BOE 538.
Seven.
537, excuse me. That we set the fair market value of this property at $7,600 and, help me out, is that
56.
$56?
A second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Last item, item 10 on the agenda is BOE number 538. Kyle is asking for $23,317. No?
Oh, yeah, sorry. That's what sorry.
Um,
Looking at the higher numbers.
Okay. So the assessor previously was 208,271, began this year with a valuation of 178,470 and lowered it to 129,626.
I'd like to move on BOE 538, agenda item 10, that we set the fair market value of this property at $129,626.
I'll second.
All in favor? Aye.
Mr. Town, may I ask a question to confirm the recommendation on BOE number 523 was at 17 million? Item number 2.
Do you remember?
Y'all had the agreement. I don't know what the agreement was.
It never came in front of
It
us.
never came before us.
It got agreed to
I
before it came in.
yesterday, but
Is that right? 17?
it wasn't 17 million. It was, I believe it was, help me out.
Well, we weren't part of that discussion, so we didn't talk about what they settled on.
No, they had it here in front of us.
You said 523?
Yeah.
523.
BOE 523?
Okay.
23,
Okay, you said
Yes.
item number 2.
Excuse me. Yes, Mr. Campbell.
Okay.
item number 2, 539.
No,
No,
523 is item
523
2.
is item one.
523 is item 2. Okay, I was looking at item 2 from yesterday, pardon me, which it was.
Yes, y'all had an agreement.
Yeah, that
before
never came to our desk.
Okay, so I'm looking for a motion on the last item on the agenda for 129,626.
So moved.
I'll second.
All in favor? Aye. Okay, that being the last item on the agenda, any public comments? None. Okay, so this is it for us this week and we'll be here Monday. Okay, thank you guys.
Thank you.
Tell Ms. Port I said hi.
Will do. Have a
Thank
safe holiday.
Yes, you too. No popping fireworks.
No.
Entertain a motion to adjourn.
Move that we adjourn.
Second.
All in favor? Aye. Okay. Yeah, and I saw